All right, welcome to Romans BI-NT4101 at Alaska Bible College, the online session for summer of 2022. This summer, we're going to be going through the book of Romans in a very in-depth study. And I can't wait to see how you guys go through this and have the book of Romans really change your life. Let's look right now at the syllabus as we begin. I'm going to start with the course description for the class. This course presents an expositional and theological approach to the book of Romans. The overall structure, development, theology, and application of the book are stressed. So the first thing we're going to be doing is an expositional and theological approach to the book of Romans. So we're going to start with an exegesis of the book of Romans, or exposition of the book of Romans, an explanation from verse to verse. And we're going to be doing that through a series of videos. You're going to do some reading. You're obviously going to be reading the New Testament text itself, and then you're going to be responding with some discussion boards, some position papers, and some other things as well. But let's look at the course outcomes to better understand what it is that we're going to try to accomplish in this class. At the completion of this course, students will be able to observe the central theme of the letter of Romans by completing multiple readings of the letter in a variety of versions. We'll look at this a little more when we get into the assignments for the course. Students will then be able to recognize the unity in Paul's argument for the central theme of Romans by careful study of the supporting ideas found in the letter. Then, you're going to be able to demonstrate a clear and comprehensive understanding of the letter by writing several thoroughly researched position papers on various difficult passages in Romans. And then finally, you're going to appreciate the depth and the riches and wisdom of the knowledge of God. That's going to be our most significant finding here, is what the Apostle Paul says at the end of chapter 11, to appreciate the depth of the riches and wisdom and knowledge of God himself and his plan for the salvation of mankind. This course is going to be a little different than you're typically used to if you've never taken an online course before, if you've only taken in-person classes here at Alaska Bible College. First of all, this is only an 8-week course, which means that you're cramming 16 weeks, what we typically take for a course, into 8, which means roughly you're going to be doing about twice the amount of work per week in order to get through these classes. That being understood, you will have the entire week to accomplish what's required per week without the deadline of a class coming up. And you won't have to sit through a class, thank goodness. Although you will have to at least watch a few videos with me talking to you. Each class will begin Monday morning at midnight, Monday morning, and will continue on through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Alaska Standard Time. That gives you an entire week to accomplish the tasks for that course, for that week at least. The course materials, we have 2 textbooks along with the Bible itself, obviously. We begin with Rene Lopez's book, Romans Unlocked. This is a phenomenal book, not very long, but a phenomenal book. A lot of our ideas will be coming from that book. And then another very short book, Encountering Romans by Douglas Moo. Again, the textbooks are not very extensive because most of your reading is going to be in the biblical text itself of the book of Romans. There are a couple of recommended books there, and if you have money and you have time and you have the desire, those 3 books are phenomenal. 3 of the top commentaries on the book of Romans are listed there for you. Thomas Schreiner, Douglas Moo's longer work, The Letter of the Romans, a part of the New International Commentary on the New Testament, and finally Zane Hodge's book, Romans Deliverance from Wrath. Phenomenal book. Can't recommend it more highly, although I believe that book is actually out of print, so you might have difficulty getting a copy of that book. Although I do believe that the contents of that book are summarized in the Grace New Testament commentary. So if you have a copy of the Grace New Testament commentary, you have essentially what Zane Hodges wrote in that book. Let's talk about the requirements for the course. What is it that you're going to need to do in order to accomplish the requirements for this class? First and foremost is the discussion post, the online discussion post. This will be scored as your attendance for the class. Each week you're going to participate in discussion posts. Now there might be 1, 2, or even sometimes 3 discussion posts, so you want to look for that because each discussion post is lined up with one of the weeks in a normal 16-week course. So in an 8-week course, you're going to have maybe 1, 2, or even 3 discussion posts to complete. Each discussion post is going to be comprised of 500 words, at least 500 words, that's due by Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. There will be a question prompt there that will have something to do with the text of Romans or your textbook reading. Next is the reading of the book of Romans and the reading of the textbooks. Each reading, by the way, you're going to be doing 7 different read-throughs of the book of Romans in 8 weeks. So each week, you're going to be reading through the book of Romans in a different translation. You're going to be looking at the ESV, the CSB or Christian Standard Bible, the King James or New King James in the next week, NIV, NLT, NET, the Net Bible, and the New American Standard Bible. You can have access to every one of these Bibles, either a Blue Letter Bible or through the Bible app, both available in the iPhone App Store and in the Android Play Store. So you have no excuse to not have access to one of those versions of the Bible. It's encouraged, if you can, to try to read through at least one of those in a full sitting, one sitting from beginning to end. If you do that, there's a little extra credit bonus that you can get for that assignment if you do that. You can do audio recordings, but what I would suggest, instead of doing audio recording while you're doing some other task, that you would sit down with the biblical text in front of you and do the audio reading that way. Because yes, the audio reading might help some who are slower readers, but I want you to interact with the text itself. I don't want you to turn something on, leave it, and let it go, and your mind starts to wander while you're sitting there trying to watch TV and listen to the Bible at the same time. Obviously, that's not going to be acceptable. Then you have the reading of the 2 course textbooks that you'll be reporting every week. Of course, for this class, there's not going to be a reading quiz that will test what you've actually read. It's just going to have the 2 questions. Did you read this text? Or to what degree did you read this text? To what degree did you read the second text? But your reporting of the text reading is going to be on your honor. The next is going to be researching. This is the primary assignment for this course, and that's the position papers you're going to do. There's 5 position papers that you're going to be writing, 3 to 4 pages each, where you're going to be taking a particular question of interpretation of the book of Romans. You're going to be looking at several commentaries that I have listed for you. If you look at the very end of the syllabus, you'll see a very detailed written instructions on how to do these assignments. Please refer to that. Each one will have a list of 2 or 3 different positions taken by different commentators throughout the years. Each one of these books is now available in the school library, and this summer they will be available to you. So just come down to the school and I can check those books out to you, or better yet, you can come down, take pictures of those relevant pages out of those texts, and leave the books here for the other people in the class to be able to grab. You're going to take those papers and write your position on those particular problem passages. There's also going to be a remembering component to this class where you're going to be actually expected to remember or memorize certain statements about the book of Romans and just remember which chapter they belong in. It's a fairly simple task, although it's going to be quite cumbersome as far as just memorization. But each week you're going to be adding 2 or 3 chapters every week. Again, in the syllabus, there's a list of 67 statements directly from the book of Romans, and all you're going to do is tell me which chapter each of those statements belongs in. Very simple task, yet can become very cumbersome. All right. That's pretty much all of the assignments that are going to be due. Again, you're going to be seeing videos posted that you're going to interact with as part of the discussion post, and each week, each lesson will open up, and you'll be able to see exactly what you're supposed to do each week in those lessons. All right. With this course, the late policy is listed right there in the syllabus for you. On the discussion posts, the weekly reading quizzes, the reading reports will not be accepted late. So if you don't get that reading report in, I'm sorry, there's no way that I'm going to be able to make that you're going to be able to make that up. However, the position papers you will be able to make up at some point, or if you miss that, just get it done, turn it in. As with many of the other courses at Alaska Bible College, those position papers are identified as core assignments for this class. If you don't accomplish one of those, even just one, it's not just a hit to the grade. You won't pass the class if you don't do that assignment. All right, so get those 5 position papers done. They're going to be open all 8 weeks, so if you want to work ahead, if you're able to do that, so be it. Just understand that if you get too far ahead, you might find that you're interpreting some things that as the course goes on, you might start to say, "Oh boy, I really messed up my interpretation of that based on the way it's being presented in class." All right, and then finally there is the course schedule. Please pay attention each week to the chapters that are going to be being looked at, the quizzes that are going to be there, the reading that's expected of you. I've tried to make it so that there's it equalizes out over the period. Notice the course schedule is still laid out weeks 1 through 16, but what I've done is I've identified which weeks are being grouped together for the 8-week course schedule. All right, and of course, as always, be sure to look through the and familiarize yourself with the academic integrity policy found there in the syllabus. There's a rather extensive bibliography for the book of Romans in the syllabus here. Again, that's a good source for you to be able to find other opinions about these position papers that you're going to be doing. All right, if you have any questions at all about the course, please feel free to let me know. Please feel free to email me, text me, call me. My phone number, my email address are right there in the syllabus for you to be able to contact me at any time during this semester. All right, I am so glad that you have chosen to take this class online. I'm so glad that we're going to be able to go through the book of Romans with you. All right, we'll see you in a couple of weeks for all of these videos. Bye.